We're in week 6 of your sensational bounce back semester that you're going to have in improving your grades and your exam performance this semester. It's time to pump it up. It's time to get ready for any midterm exams that you may have. Some courses you may have them, some you may not. I'll say this, for the ones that you don't have a midterm exams, I highly recommend you creating a midterm exam yourself by doing practice problems, study aids, or going to your academic support program and asking them for hypotheticals that you can do. But for the courses that you do have midterm exams, I want to give you my best tips, strategies, and how to prepare. And it's going to sound like a broken record from maybe a previous video, but again, I'm just here as a reminder. If I make repetitive videos, so be it. But I want to get this in your head and what you need to do and the track that you need to be on so that you can prepare and perform at your best. So I only got one slide for you. So here are my 5 midterm exam preparation tips. Tip number 1. You heard me say this plenty of times. You want to actively self-test yourself with the course topics that you learned so far in the semester. This is midterm. So week 1 through week 7, 8, whenever the midterm exam is, that's all that you're going to be tested on. So you don't want to go any further than that. Of course, the final exam is over the entire semester. You want to do this active self-testing through completing practice problems through online study aids through your law school library. There's plenty of them. Rereading your notes and rereading cases are not going to save you on exams. It's passive learning. And not only that, it's only one way to look in how to apply a rule of law. So the case is just one fact pattern. But what practice problems do is allows you to analyze multiple fact patterns in applying that particular rule of law, whether it satisfies it or it doesn't. That is the name of the game of a law school exam. Professors manipulate fact patterns just to see and test our understanding if we can apply it in different situations. So just looking at one case is not going to help us. But all of those practice problems or online study aids come from professors' exams, old exams. So let's use it to our advantage. And once we go in there, we're not going to be all confused because we've seen all these different fact patterns and we know how to apply the rule. Rule of saying is, if you don't test yourself, if you don't expose where you need help or your analysis is not so strong, the exam is going to do that for you. And you do not want the exam to do that for you because you want to optimally perform. Tip number 2, with completing these practice problems, you want to actively analyze and fully write out your answers. And this is including multiple choice questions. Don't be lazy and just read the question and be like, oh, it's B. No, write out why is it answer choice B. And for me, I like to use the IREC method, even for multiple choice questions, because that's all it is. It's a fact pattern. Figure out the issue. What's the rule of law that governs that particular fact pattern? And then apply the facts to see if the rule applies or not. And then the answer choices. I wouldn't fully explain why the other answer choices are wrong. Just go with whatever answer choice you think is right and just explain that. This helps you to analyze and fully write out your answers like a law school exam. This is a practice. You see, we just, oh, it's this answer. The law professor always wants to know why. Why? They're always asking us why. So if we're practicing writing it out, whether it's paper or you're typing it out, you get this practice with each problem, and including the essays. But I highly advise you not to IRAC the multiple choice questions and fully explain it, because that's going to be too time consuming. But again, this is just practice. You want to be a lot faster in answering the multiple choice questions without fully writing it out and whatnot, but still using the IRAC method. But again, it's going to help you understand the rule of law and how the fact pattern applies it even more when you fully write it out versus just, oh, it's just this answer. Tip number 3, because this is practice, you want to embrace being wrong on answer choices, multiple choice, or your essay analysis. That's why it is practice. It's not about, oh, look at me, I got all these right problems. Again, this is you versus you with your own understanding. You want to expose the holes and gaps of your understanding in practice problems, because that's what the exam is going to do. So if you're wrong, it's okay. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet because I got an exam, midterm exam in civil procedure coming up in 2 weeks. Got a whole bunch of problems wrong. But what do? I learn from the study aids, answers, explanations, so that I can revise my analysis. And I'm like, okay, all right, I didn't see it that way. But that's how we learn, by being wrong. And the more you're wrong and correct it, you're going to get the hang of it. It's okay not to get it right on the first time, but as long as you correct it and then you're right on the exam, that's what it's all about. You can be wrong in practice all day long, but as long as you can get it right when it comes exam time. Tip number 4, you want to time yourself on each practice problems. You want to simulate exam conditions. You don't need to go for a set time, but you just want to just work under just timing conditions, because the exam is going to have a time limit. So you're not going to have a whole bunch of time on each question. So you want to just condition and train your brain to answer it as fast and accurate as possible. If you go longer, that's okay. But you'll see, you'll start to get better as you understand the fact pattern, the question, more and more. Lastly, tip number 5, you want to review and revise practice problems and answers until midterm exam day. Again, don't rely on your notes. Yeah, the notes is fine, memorize and whatnot. The cases, okay, you can see how the rule applies to the particular fact pattern, but the practice problems are going to be similar to the exam. I promise you. May not be exact, of course, but they're going to be so similar. There's only so many ways a professor can manipulate the facts for a particular rule of law, but we want to exhaust as many fact patterns and the different angles, because professors, they love to mix it up. So with that, I want to share my exam preparation for civil procedure, where it's coming up in 2 weeks. And here you go. These are all the practice problems that I've done from various study aids. You see here in the yellow is the actual study aid book, and what's in red is the questions that I got wrong. And I just gave myself some notes of why I got it wrong or what to look out for. And this isn't all in the red, and it's okay, because I'm going back to review them and to see where I went wrong, and I'm just going to correct them. It's okay. So some I got right, some I got wrong. And then in the yellow, not yellow, but the orange is questions that I'm going to come back to later, because subject matter jurisdiction I have not learned yet, and a lot of the questions kind of merge with other topics that we have not learned yet, but that's okay. But I'm just going down. See, this is how I track myself. I track what I got wrong. So I'm studying my analysis patterns, seeing what I got wrong, what I got right. And hey, sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. But as you see, I track it. So I know, okay, I need to work on this particular area of my analysis or a rule of law, and some I may not as much. So I recommend you doing this, tracking it within a spreadsheet so that you can see your analysis and to see where you're off at. Because come exam time, I'm going to be ready. And just for an example, so this is a multiple choice question, but this is my explanation from a multiple choice question. I do it on a separate sheet, and I just do it IRAC method. Some are longer than others, and I just did a IRAC method, and this is the study aids answers explanation, and I match it up to see, okay, how far off am I, and do I need to revise it and whatnot. So this gives me practice, just writing it out. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I just wanted to give you this example of how I am practicing it. All right. So that's it, my friends. If you got midterm exams, let's prepare optimally to your greatest so that you can maximize your grade, so that you can set yourself up in a favorable position and perform even better on the final exam. Let's go. Woo! Pump it up, baby. Pump it up. You will excel. Stay relentless. Do them practice problems.